And you received your midterm score.
Yes.
That's good. No. So,
Cường có 9 điểm hay gì?
Cường có 9 điểm rồi.
last week you don't have any tutorial section.
Không có biên độ. Hiện tại cổ quy.
Yes.
So last week you learned 7.
And half of 9.
A little bit of 9.
8 and 9.
A little 9.
A little bit of 9.
You didn't learn chapter 7? Yes.
Learn already.
And
Cho
6.
thầy xích đi.
Week before, right? Okay, so
Xích nữa thầy.
today you didn't do this one, right?
Đấy, hỏi thầy
So
có
today we're
sao.
gonna review for chapter 7. Do some exercise related to this one. Next week we will review chapter 8 and 9. So first part today, revision. So for this one, with exercise, and the second part you're gonna have the quiz for 10 questions related to chapter 7. Okay. One more thing. Do you know about your group project?
No.
No. Nothing about that. So for your group project, please ask your
Ủa sao cô kêu hỏi thầy?
lecturer for more information. But generally, we provide some
Con ghế con rộng hỏi thầy.
between some economic events, for example, GDP, FDI, or for something like stock price and some relationship between the return on stock price and company characteristic, for example, leverage of the asset, sales revenue or net income, for example, something like that. So you are required to find some paper
Em có nhóm chưa?
that they have already used the research,
Có nhóm.
and then try to
Yên tâm từ lâu rồi mẹ.
try to read carefully on their literature review, something usually on the second part of the papers, and try to figure out what did the researcher did the research in the past, summarize that, and try to understand some key trend in the research. That's all. That's enough. But if you want to receive high score, for example, 8 to 9 to 10, you are required to replicate the research also. So you want to try to collect the data and then run the research again. Run the regression again. Try to replicate the research and present your own result. Okay? So ask for your lecturer for more detail. But in general, it's going to be that. So you know that who's going to be your group mate, right? Anyone know that? Who's your group mate, right? Okay, so let's start with this one. So in chapter 7, you have learned about using some qualitative information to add up into your regression. So what kind of qualitative information that you can list out? First, give me an example for qualitative information.
Female, male.
Gender. Okay, female or male. Anything else?
Income có phải
Okay, so
là thị trường không ta?
author within the year. Okay. Anything else? Race. Okay, white,
Tôi
black,
mới bấm gọng nó sách Excel luôn.
yellow, anything else? Okay, so what is the similar characteristic in all of the things that you just mentioned? Numeric, that is a big point. So you cannot do some metric method. For example, you cannot add up male and female together, or you cannot sum up the Monday and Tuesday together. Okay, so the key point of qualitative information is that non-metric. So these things are something that you need to remember.
Hãng thức công này hỏi.
For example, they put the female here in the regression. So this is an example for using female. So if that observation is female, how about the value of female there? It's going to receive the value of So 1 for female and 0 for male. Alright. The qualitative information on the dummy variables can be presented in the dependent or independent variable case of both sides. And one more thing that you need to be aware about dummy variable chart. So what's about this chart? What does that mean? Why we call this is a chart? Why it's a chart? Okay, because it's a perfect collinearity. So it means that you cannot include all the categories of the dummy variable into your regression. For example, you only have 2 categories, male and female, so you cannot include both to the regression, because if male equal to 1, female will be 0 and vice versa. So it means that male and female have a perfect collinearity, and it violates some of your assumptions. Okay, so you cannot include that one. If you want to add 2 categories in all the categories in your regression, what should you do? You need to remove the beta 0 constant in your regression before you do the regression. Okay? So if you don't want to include on the regression, you need to omit at least one category in your regression. For example, you omit male here, or you omit female here in the second regression. Okay, there are 2 ways for you to present the dummy information, dummy variable. First thing, you can present all of your category to one variable. For example, CR here. CR is a credit rating, for example, and it receives the value from 0 to 4, present for 5 categories. Okay? Or you can present each category into your regression and need to omit one. So the category is omitted here is CR 0. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 there. So the CR 0 is omitted. Okay, so there are 2 ways for you to present the dummy variable there. Why you need to learn this one? Because this is very, very common in the research these days. So if you want to get more score in your project, you also need to add up some dummy variable. For example, the countries. Okay, each country receives one code to separate countries, or the industry. Okay, so each industry has their own characteristic. So you might try to get their characteristic by getting this one. Okay, so using dummy variable will help you to separate each category effect to your dependent variable. Okay. This one is another way to add to you qualitative information into your regression. For example, here they use the interaction term between female and education. Okay, so if you want to investigate the effect of male only, have a look at this one. If you are investigating the male, female will receive the value of 0. Female here will receive the value of 0. So the only 2 things remain. The only 2 coefficients remain after remove female. It's going to be beta 0 and beta 1. Right? So if you want to invest the effect of male only, it's going to be beta 0 and beta 1. Right? If you want to investigate the effect of female, so female will be 1. So all the coefficients from beta 0, beta 1, theta 0 and theta 1 will be there presenting your regression. Okay, so that's why when you remove female, the intercept for male is going to be beta 0 only. And intercept for female will be, or for women, will be both beta 0 and theta 0. Because when female equal to 1, this one plus this one is also a constant, right? There is that value didn't change. So beta 0 plus theta 0 is constant also. So they call that is the intercept for women. And beta 1 plus theta 1 will be the slope for women. When you do that one, okay? So this one. This one. Another thing that you can use for dummy variable is using dummy as a dependent variable. So if you are using dummy, for example, gender, so gender only receive the value from 0, only two values, not from only two values, 0 and 1. So from the first one, you can calculate the predicted value of y based on replace the value of x to the regression. That's why the second line here, you don't see the residual, the predicted value. Or this one, we can write another way by y hat. Okay, so y hat will be equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 times for x1. You replace the value of x1 to the regression model. You get the predicted value of y. So this is just another way of writing for y hat. Okay? Or we can say expected value of y under the condition of x. Alright? So because you know the formula for predicted value, if you did remember in your corporate finance, okay, expected value of some things based on any condition will equal to the value of the condition times for the probability of that condition is to happen. Okay? It's kind of you calculate the return for the investment, for example. If you have 30%, your investment will go up for a million. And you have 70%, your investment will go down for 1 million. So you're going to take 10 million times for 30% plus for 1 million times for 70%. So if you calculate the value time for the probability of that event happen, and this one probability as the event value time for the probability of that event happen. So this one plus this one will equal to 1. Okay? Everyone get that? So if you have this one and this one, mathematics transform, because this one counts for 0, so you remove this one, right? So this means that this one will equal to this one. So you have this one. Why you need to know about this one? This one will show you that if you have your dependent variable is a dummy receive value from 0 to 1, each of the components from beta 0 to the last beta k will receive the value of probability like this. Okay, so if you receive something like higher than 1 or something like extreme value, it means that you do something wrong there. Okay. So this is how you can check your regression result. Okay, so this is so you have a linear probability model. But in other words, we saw that each component here will contribute to the whole probability for that one to happen. Okay, for example, this one is 5%, 1%, 10%, for example, and it sum up to some percent of that event equal to 1. Right? And that is on chapter 7, and you need to remember. Because you have learned chapter 8 and chapter 9, you can see that
chapter 6.
For
Chapter 6.
after chapter 7,
But you didn't review about chapter 6 for our
chapter 6? Did you learn chapter 6?
Yes.
Chapter 6 about...
Before midterm.
You have learned chapter 6 already?
Yes.
Okay. We're gonna learn that next week. So, the 6 is about
Further issues of regressive.
Further issue multiple regressive.
Alright, so after chapter 7, you're gonna see that it's not related to theory anymore. So from chapter 1 to chapter 7, most of your exercise will be related to t-test and f-test. Okay, so after chapter 7, it's gonna be going more and more complicated. For example, in chapter 8, you have learned about cross-value test or white test for heteroscedasticity and how to overcome that issues. Did you know that? Okay. And chapter 9, you learn about. Have you finished chapter 9?
Cái điện thoại nó tồn tại đủ rồi.
So, and the main content for your final will be chapter 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so focus more on okay.
Nói vậy thôi chứ anh Nam mà
bỏ
Moss thôi mà. Chứ có phải hết đâu.
Trúng điểm mà 97
Nhưng mà ý là Moss thôi chứ có phải hết đâu. Nghe gì đâu.
Now do some exercise.
Hôm nay tao ngồi tao mà trả mọi người nhớ vô subscribe cho kênh Huy Ngồi Đất nha. Like, share, subscribe đi. Mày năm mấy?
Did you do any exercise in class? Or chapter 7? Which one?
Just one.
Only one meeting? No, I friend, it's just one, is that? So which one you have done fast?
Làm chưa? Nó nghĩ.
So you finish this one? Yes? Okay. Second? Or the second one?
Rồi nè. Mình điều tao không nghe nhưng mà tao biết.
Second?
Tao chưa nghe gì hết á. Nó tâm nghĩ.
Three?
Nhiều đồ có lắm.
Đừng nói to quá. Nó không. Người ta đang học bài. Vậy không được thôi nha vậy. Cái gì vậy? Lên kênh Huy Ngồi Đất mà nghe. Huy Ngồi Đất. Huy Ngô Gia. Huy Ngô Gia. Huy Ngô Gia. Huy Ngô Gia. Vu Ban Hồng. Huy Ngô Gia.
You did the question 4. Did you do question 4?
Number 4.
Inflation is spread. Security.
Cái vụ này chưa?
Yes or no?
Thấy rồi.
Vậy thì mày cũng có thể kiếm được 7 tỷ.
Quan trọng là mày phải nói chuyện một cách lương lẹo để người ta đồng ý. Cái mỏ phải sợ sạch của mày.
Đó.
Cái
Không
sợ
có tao nghĩ mà mình không nhớ. Tao quên giờ học có tao nghĩ đó. Tao quên giờ tao tưởng 3 giờ mới học tao thương tao. Xong tao phát hiện tao nói quên, xong tao bỏ luôn. Trời ơi, mày mới nói là tao biết mày nói sai tên tao rồi. Để quên kẹo.
Ủa sao tự nhiên cái rồi là sao? Sao vậy? Chuyện gì xảy ra? Sao vậy? Muốn bao nhiêu là dung lượng?
Làm dừng đi.
More here. So you say yes. Crazy. So 1, 2, 3, you already. Yeah. All right. Sure, right? Because this might be similar to your final. That's a question. Okay. So make sure that you understand from the answer. Okay.
Mày có đáp án không vậy?
Phim của bác Luôn đi subscribe bạn đi.
Okay, so because your lecturer already saw this one in class, I ask you.
Con Nguyễn như thế.
So question 1. They use the data in slip 75 to estimate the regression. So they evaluate the relationship between total working time, education, age, and gender to sleeping time, right? So one more thing that you need to aware, that you need to understand the unit of each one. So sleep in total minutes per week, and total working time in total weekly minutes spent on working. So remember that minute of working per week. Alright? So all the factors being equal, or they can use another term in your textbook, the separate by reverse. Have you seen that word in textbook?
Yes.
Okay, so it means that one of the factors being equal, or keep all the factors remain unchanged. It is evident that men sleep more than women. Yeah. How to do that? How to know that?
Hôm qua bố mày chạy deadline.
How to know that men sleep more than women?
Là data của mail.
So when they ask you if there's any evidence, it means that they want you to test for the significance of that coefficient. Okay, so what kind of test you gonna do? T-test, one tail, two tail. Why one tail? Okay, because they state that it's more than. So you're going to do
Different.
one tail test for positive side. Okay. So t-test is easy that you take coefficient value divided by the standard error to get the t ratio. And then you look up for the t value from the t table compared to t. And give your decision rule, for example, reject or accept. Okay? So how many degree freedom we have here? Degree freedom for t-test.
Để mình là chữ tra chữ 1
After you calculate which number, give me the number. 700. 700. So you take 700, 706 minus 5 and minus 1 to get 700. So then they ask how strong is the evidence. What should we do? They ask how strong for the evidence. So they ask us at least 3 significant level, 1%, 5% and 10%. Okay, so you look at for 3 level. If it's significant as 1%, do you need to check for 5% and 10%? No. Okay, so if it's significant as 1%, it's for sure that it's going to significant at 5 and 10%. Right? So to you, after your calculation, you're going to have the result of that. Second question, is there a statistically significant trade-off between working and sleeping? What does trade-off mean?
It's like working or sleeping.
Other ones degree. So it's trade-off is general meaning that you need to give up something for something to receive something. So trade-off between working and sleeping, so it means that you work more, you need to sleep less. Alright, so they ask for statistically significant trade-off. Which coefficient that you need to look at? Beta for total. What should you do here? Doing the t-test. Test for significant of beta 1. 1 tail or 2 tail? 1 tail. 1 tail. 4. Okay, this is the trade-off, which means that it has a negative relationship. So you're going to do 1 tail test at the negative side. Okay? What is the estimated trade-off? What should we do? So you need to assume something. For example, you assume that if you work for 1 more hours, how much time that you need to sleep less? Okay, how should we do? If you work for 1 more hour per week, how much time that you need to sleep less?
We had to test the number of total working hours to sleep, and it is like rejected.
I mean, the second question was is the estimated trade-off. Yes, but it's assume that is significant. Now you do my second question. So what should we do? With the question that if you work for 1 more hours per week, how much time that you need to sleep less? No. Because the unit of the working time is minutes, so you need to change the change it 2 minutes to 60. So be aware of that one. Okay, so around 10 or it's 9 minutes or something. Okay, and here's the so you need to give the conclusion after you're calculating. Okay, what's going to be your conclusion? If you work for 1 more hours per week, you need to sleep less for 10 minutes. Okay. Does it work straight up? Does that work? Yes or no? Yes. You work for 1 more hour, you only need to sleep less for 10 minutes. Does that work? No. Yes. Okay, it's up to you. Okay. Last question. What other regression do you need to run to test the moving hypothesis that holding all the factors fixed, age has no effect on sleeping? Age has no effect on sleeping. This means that age is insignificant, right? So how to test that? We're gonna do why? Why don't we do? Because there are 2 variables related to age in our regression, so we're gonna do F-test. In order to do F-test, what kind of regression that we should do? Restrict regression, because we only have the unrestricted regression result. So another thing we need to have is restricted regression result. Okay, whether we get the SSR of restricted or we get the R square of restricted model. How many restrictions we have here? 1 or 2? 1 or 2? 3?